Welcome back to Jumping Flash, the first one. This is part 3, which will actually be the final episode of Jumping Flash 1. But that's okay, because we're still doing Jumping Flash 2. Again, I'm not doing Jumping Flash 3 because, I don't know, I don't consider that game part of the... I guess it's technically part of the canon, but it's just that it's so different with the way it works, you know, with the mission structure and stuff. It's not because, oh, it's in Japanese only. No, that doesn't make a fucking difference. The game is so simple in the way it communicates everything. It's actually super, super clear. I mean, plus, Google Translate exists. But still, even without that, I was able to figure out what to do. It's just, no, it doesn't really fit in. So we're just doing the first 2 games. And please, Sony, do something. They're never gonna do anything with this IP. Ever. I bet they still own it. You know, I'm sure there's a document somewhere that says that they technically still have the rights to use this however they want. But they just aren't going to. I think it's still available somewhere on like the PlayStation Network, I think. I don't know. Anyway, so we've got our actually quite a unique take. So usually when there's like an Asian-inspired level or like a Japanese level, it'll be ancient, you know, like from a particular era from the past, whereas this, I mean, it technically still is from the past, except as far as this game is concerned, it's from the present. This is like, you know, an industrial, modern kind of Japan, which is really cool to see in a game like this. You know, the sequel, I think, went on to include a more traditional Japanese and or Asian, just general Asian. I'm not sure if it's Japanese or Chinese, alright? I'm a little ignorant in that regard. I'm pretty sure it's Japanese, though. You know, a more traditional looking stage compared to this. This is very much modern. Although the music itself, you can clearly hear that it's like very much like, ooh, yes, we know the pentatonic scale. Okay, it uses more than just pentatonic. There's intervals here that you would not hear in pentatonic. Like this one, for example. Do that half step. You wouldn't have that in pentatonic usually. That is very much a diatonic movement. So anyway, some more things that no one gives a shit about except for me. Like whenever a YouTuber talks about like, did you know that I'm actually scaling this to 48.2 times the native resolution to preserve proper scale? I don't fucking know. Anyway, so we're invincible now. I don't know. Oh, yes. Okay. Shit, I'm dead. And I just lost one of my pods. That's not a mechanic. That's me using a save state because I just don't feel like dying in an arcade platformer. So we're going to try and find that one again. That's going to be real fun. And then hopefully, okay, this section I recognize. This is where you find the one that I was gonna get last, but then I died, and now we're superpowered again. Cool. You know, I haven't really been getting a lot of these special stages. Why? Oh, for fuck's sake. That's what happens when you die. You play a little animation, you lose a life, you start the whole level all over again. So I think you'd rather... I don't think you'd want to see me do the entire level all over again. Just a small portion of it. And I could also cut this out, but as long as I'm still talking, it's still worth showing. So, what was I talking about when it came... Yeah, there's the special stage. Why have I not been showing them off too much? Well, I don't know. There's not that much variety to them. I guess I could, you know, fine, okay, let's save over here, just in case, and let's go and jump into that special stage, just to sort of see if there's anything all that different about it. Oh boy, okay, this is gonna be weird. With Jumping Flash Free, they made the camera a little more reactive to, how you land. The camera angle would change, but here it's kind of stiff. But still, all things considered, though, this is one very well-playing first-person game on the PlayStation. That's all because there's no aiming, really. I mean, like, okay, this is like a shooting gallery, to be fair, but for the most part, there's not a lot of precision aiming you have to make, you know, a lot of precision shots. These special stages are very tricky, though, because they're just so tight when it comes to the time limit, you know? And they'll hide the fucking balloons in just the most annoying... Like, right now, they're not really hidden, but still, like, the camera, the very narrow field of view, which surprisingly has not made me too uncomfortable yet. I'm fortunate enough to not be super sensitive to very low field of views. I know some people genuinely just cannot play certain games because of that. I don't have that problem, but I mean, if I could play this shit at 120, then I probably would, you know, but, oh, for fuck's sake, there it is, there's the last one. Is that the last one? Yes, it is, and I got an extra life, which I'm never going to use. But that's okay, that's because lives are an archaic game mechanic, which we don't actually need. Is this the place where I'm supposed to go? I really wish you could, like, maybe tilt the camera down on command without having to necessarily hold down a button in order to do that. But anyway, well, look at that. Look at the way the shadow drops from 2 different directions. That's kind of weird. Oh, that was actually because it's my shadow. And, oh, fuck. Yeah, okay. At this point, the platforming becomes a little bit more treacherous. You know, like, the game reminds you that, hey, we're still trying to be a 3D platformer. We're still trying to challenge you in the sense that you want to have to actually make these jumps. There you go. Final one somewhere. Oh, wow. That looks like a super flat Minecraft skybox. Oh, man. I feel almost ashamed to say something like that, but at the same time, maybe it's just generational bias, but it's like in my head, Minecraft's like the last big popular thing that I don't feel bad for referencing and associating other things with, you know? Like, you're never gonna hear me reference whatever is the current thing. I think I do know what the current thing is, but I'm not gonna say it just to not date this video. I mean, obviously every video is dated just by the number underneath them, but it's like, you know, it helps when I don't mention whatever's currently the thing, because then it'll be like, oh, remember he recorded this video then. Which is what really annoys me when some other YouTubers seem to go out of their way to make their content feel more dated by throwing that kind of stuff in there. It's like, do you want your videos to age like milk? You know, it's because that's what you're doing. Like, some things can be dated and still be kind of charming and rewatchable and replayable, like a lot of video games. This game's actually pretty dated in some ways, but also kind of timeless in others. And I feel like a lot of PlayStation 1 music is just so fucking timeless because the production value is actually, at this point, pretty good, and the compositions just, they hold up. You know, it's not really hard for music to age well in this way. Now, oh, wait a second, why don't I just pay attention to the minimap? Well, that's because the minimap is showing me the exit and not the actual collectible. These right here, these dudes are going to call the Moo-Moos. Yeah, the thumbnail for the second half of this Let's Play is going to be based off that. It's not often that I switch thumbnails halfway through. That's just because I actually made that one first. But then I realized those guys play a much bigger role in the sequel, so I thought that it would... Wait a second, the timer's still moving even though it's in free time. That makes no sense, whatever. But yeah, those guys play a much bigger role in the sequel, so I thought that it wouldn't really make sense to use them for the first game. So for the first game, I made a new thumbnail as I was very in a very bad mood when recording this one New Super Mario Bros. DS play episode. And I was like, oh fuck, I gotta go make that too. And then I actually totally forgot to make it during that session, like after the session, but I made it the next day, so don't worry about it. You're still gonna see that new thumbnail, which is like the carrot, but with like some nice little indents and cutouts to give it some more style. And you know what I've started doing that I really, I'm a little mixed on whether or not how much I actually enjoy it, but I do it anyway because it's kind of fun. So I guess I do enjoy it to an extent. It's rewarding. I've started like making, whenever I'm doing a video, especially a Focus on B, on a game that's not really all that well known and doesn't have like a super like iconic logo that anyone would recognize, I just take that as an opportunity to just kind of be a little creative, and I just make my own logos. Like you might have seen for Citadella, I made that logo. You know, it just kind of, okay, I want to see in like a reticle because it's a shooter. I was thinking of doing that for Cave Story, and I guess I kind of did, because for Cave Story, I took one of the characters, the Balrog, I think his name was, the big lunchbox looking dude, who sounds like Kool-Aid Man, you know, oh yeah, and, whoa, now it's all Neon Tokyo, fuck yeah, and I basically made a stylized little logo for the thumbnail, and I think it looks alright, you know. I've also recently discovered this game that I'm definitely doing a Focus on B on. This game called CT, so Counter-Terrorists, Special Forces Back to Hell. It's the sequel. So here's what's insane about that game. I'm kind of spoiling that future episode. I mean, I haven't even recorded it, but like, come on, I'll just tell you. That game came out in 2003. So what? Lots of games came out in 2003. No. That game came out in 2003 for the Game Boy Advance. Okay, that was the current handheld system at the time, sure enough. But it also came out in 2003 for the PlayStation 1. Not 2, not the PSP in 2004, no. It came out in 2003 for the original PlayStation. Which is surprising, because it's not like some licensed game, because, okay, yeah, we kept getting Tony Hawk games up until Tony Hawk 4 on PS1, because, well, you think Activision isn't gonna try and milk that thing for, like, every last drop? Of course they're gonna do that, but no, it's just this whoever the fuck game made by, I don't even remember who. Maybe they're not even around anymore. But it's just this weird, like, kind of Metal Slug sort of ripoff. But it seems to be kind of okay. It got generally positive reviews. You know, I can't. The art direction is basically the same, not quite as fluid. Of course, nothing is as fluid as Metal Slug. Those games are pixel art heaven. Jesus Christ, they look so good. But still, it's just so strange that a game like that exists in the world. And it's not like some homebrew thing or anything. No, it's like, yeah, okay, sure, people still to this day make Dreamcast games. They make PS1 or games styled like PS1, PS2 as well. There's recently been a lot of like PS2 style horror games. I think Nitro Rad did a video on one, but not a video, but like it was a video, but it was like Nitro Ramble, his second series. It was this I forgot what it was called, but it was basically a total love letter to the PS2 era of you know, survival horror games, where it's like it's nice and shiny and modern, but you can totally tell that it's trying to sort of look PS2, not PS1, PS2. And it makes sense. I mean, like, the people of that generation are now getting to that point where there's a lot of nostalgia for that era of games. It's old enough. I mean, the PlayStation 1 came out 25 years ago, which I still try and convince myself wasn't that long ago, but it kind of was in video game time, you know what I mean? It's still interesting how, like, it's all relative to the medium, because in my head, like, a 25-year-old movie, for example, really isn't that old, but that's because movies have existed for, over 100 years. Well, almost 100 years, basically. Animation has definitely existed for 100 years. I mean, there's shit in the public domain now because of how old it is, you know? But still, it's just... I get it. I get why we would want to have games in that style, and I'm glad. I really hope that happens with other genres, because I couldn't give a fuck about survival horror, honestly. I don't care about survival in general. Like Minecraft, no. I mean, like, even that, though, I'm totally sick of that game. It's just the nostalgia, of course, when I hear C418's music and I fucking bawl my eyes out, but that's it, though. You know, there's nothing left in terms of how much I really want to play that game. And I never got into Terraria, which is funny. You think that, oh, now you'd probably enjoy Terraria more, because that game's more, like, video game focused. No, I don't really care for Terraria either. I don't know, maybe it's just the pacing of the game. The controls are fine. No, we're restarting that. The controls are fine in Terraria. They're not, like, clunky or anything. It's just, I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. I genuinely have no idea what it is about Terraria that makes me want to not play it, other than the fact that, well, I do kind of feel like I have to break out a guide. At least the thing about Minecraft is it's a very, very simple game, really. It seems like there's a lot of depth, but it's actually kind of shallow, almost. I know some people will tell me, well, actually, no, you're wrong. Okay, shut up. And to me, that game is shallow. But it's not a bad thing, necessarily. It just means that it's really easy to just jump in and know all my patterns and crafting recipes and all those things and just, like, play it like an arcade game, even though I'm totally sick of it, right? But I can still get, like, some forced enjoyment out of it, if that makes sense. Whereas in Terraria, it's like, you'd think it'd be simpler because there's no real crafting, but it kind of makes it more complicated in my head because now I have to just remember what makes what, and it's just, I don't know. I think we're going to get another cutscene. This one might be genuinely, like, a real cutscene. Let's see.
Take a good look. I knew this might happen, so I created this secret machine. Never underestimate the power of science.
Damn, we finally got a real cutscene. It's like 2 seconds, but oh, for fuck's sake, I'm already dead. Wow, this is such a cool level. You know what? This level gives me some total Sonic Extreme vibes for some reason. What's the music like? Hold on, I want to listen to the music for a bit. Okay, basically, T-Lopes, but like several decades before T-Lopes. That makes sense. No, okay, just kidding. You know, it's interesting, actually. There's a lot of design cues here to remind me of, actually, Mega Man to an extent. And, I mean, of course, it reminds me of Mega Man 8-Bit Deathmatch, because it's all low-poly, herder, but... Yeah, actually kind of does, like the texture work specifically. Not because it's blocky, just the exact stone and like, well, stone, actually they're more mechanical. There's definitely what do you call it? There must be a name for this type of texture. The kind of texture that is mechanical, but it looks like it's trying to look like stone. You know, it's trying to resemble stone, despite the fact that it's clearly not stone. It's mechanical. Also, I just realized free time. Actually, it improves your radar. It makes it so it genuinely shows you where the collectibles are. So yeah, look at that. It reflected that. It reflected where the collectible was. But it only works for that amount of time, so you really gotta take advantage of it. But yeah, look at this. We're in space, and it's all so distinctly like PlayStation 1, you know? Just the fact that the background is just a texture. It's amazing, honestly, and I love levels like this. It creates such an interesting feeling, and I think that's why this kind of look, to some extent, has stuck around, at least in popular culture, and people try to emulate it. For as much as the industry keeps trying to push forward with its graphics and stuff, there's always going to be that push back to something like this, because it makes you feel a certain way, not nostalgia. Again, I never played this game until like maybe a year ago or so. Very, 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 very recently, and yet just when I sit here, I feel like I'm in a different dimension, you know? And it's just because it's so disconnected from what we think of when it comes to what a video game normally would look like now. You know? Even like a cartoony stylized game today would still look very different to this, just inherently. Okay, so where the hell is the final one? Oh, there's this really nice motif going on in the music. I just noticed it. Let's use that free time. Please tell me where to go. Thank you. Why can't they just be the default? You know, just constantly have it showing me where to... Well, to be fair, then the game would be a little too easy. Now, wouldn't it be? It would be a little bit too much like Assassin's Creed or something, or yeah, I guess Far Cry actually. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, good. We're still here. I don't know why. There's something about really cool about the reverb on the character's voice when they save free time. Obviously, I saved after they said it, so you're not going to hear it. But like, you get the idea. Listen to it next time I get it. Go away, you stupid manta ray. I think that's what you call it. I'm assuming. Wow, look at those polygons. That looks so cool, though. Honestly, because it's like the shading. And I know why. It's because the shading on these lower detail assets create these very interesting silhouettes and shapes that you don't get when everything is super smooth, you know? There's a lot more things going on. There's more visual interest. That's why we're able to appreciate this kind of shit, you know? Because it's limited, but it still has a look to it that is appealing. Are we going to get another cutscene, or is it just going to go straight to... I like how the final level is just his head. It's just his head. That's amazing. Like, really. I cannot find enough... Oh, fuck. Wait, hold on. This is a boss. Why are we doing a... Okay. It's metal. Well, we're already made of metal. I mean, evil, Neo, Shadow, fucking Robert. Yes, please. Wait, hold on. I recognize this section. I remember I fought this guy before. So, he just sends out a bunch of these dudes and he destroyed them. Of course, you can jump on them, and then you get the Roman cannon. You just get any additional weapons from him. And then, I think, he lands, and you get the fucking blast the shit out of him. There you go. Oh, fuck. Don't get hit. I got hit by him. Of course I did. Where is he? I can't see him. There you go. Pay attention to his drop shadow. And maybe, like, do that thing where you aim. Yeah, I forgot that you can do... You can't hit him. Obviously, you can't hit him when he's up there. So you're just going to want to jump on the guy. Seriously, thank God for that auto camera switch. That's great. The way it, like, points downwards, you know? It seems so archaic now, but it really does help. There you go. Now he's back, and... Oh, fuck. I totally missed that. Well, whatever. I keep forgetting what the button is to... Oh, wow. Okay, that does some damage. Fortunately, I'm doing damage to him, too. Come on, go away. Die, please. Ow. No. Don't make the mildly inconvenienced sounds as if, like, someone just stubbed his toe. Okay, to be fair, that shit can hurt sometimes. Ow, I'm low health. You can tell by the beeping. And the fact that I'm now hitting the Q key on my keyboard. And I'm going to hit the E key real soon, most likely. That's how I've configured it. I can't stand it when most emulators do this. They default to, like, I think he's out of minions. He's just attacking me, like, one-on-one right now. They configure it's like the F keys, and I get why, because you're out of the way, but there's only so many buttons to configure to a game controller, you know, so I've got plenty left over, so I just configure it to Q and E or O and P, depends on whether or not I want like save slot 1, save slot 2. But yeah, just so weird. So basically this second level is just a boss. So in reality, we only get one stage? That's actually really, that's an annoying trope that really disappoints me about a lot of different games. When they make it seem as if you're gonna get, oh yeah, cool, we're gonna get a few more full-on levels, but then we don't. We just get like a level and some bosses. Like, look, that wasn't a level. That was a boss. And next one's most likely gonna be a boss too. So this game only actually has one final stage, which I wish that weren't the case. I'd like to explore his space station or whatever the hell it is a little more. I think it's really cool. But no, now we're into the final boss, who I assume we take out the exact same way as everyone else. We jump on his head, and we're doing damage. We jump on his head, and we shoot him in the face, as every single final boss does. Now, as you would expect, because this isn't the end, I am going to be, I'm not going to be giving my final thoughts at the end. In fact, I'm not even going to show the credits for this. I assume a lot of the same people worked on the second game. Maybe that's, you know, maybe slightly different staff members like went in and out, but like the second game released like about a year after the original, so there's a pretty, I don't think there's a huge chance that like that many different people worked on it. And let's be real, who really wants to stick around for the credits, which is sort of a thing we're used to, that fits, that makes sense thematically for a large-scale production to like appreciate the credits, you know, when they're rolling. But in reality, you know, basically, yeah, so this episode is going to end around here after I'm done with this fight. And what about this fight? Let me talk about the boss itself. Well, as you can see, wow, that background is weird. And he's got one of those typical shockwave moves, and it's interesting how his head model looks nothing like the actual character. He could have made it look like it, but like he looks almost nothing like him. He does have that monocle thing going on. Were they trying to just make another Dr. Eggman or something? Because he can't really, very few games, very few things can like recapture a different thing that exists, and he's broken apart. Okay, what the hell is he doing now? So we have to jump over that, of course. But yeah, so what are my impressions of Jumping Flash 1 as a whole? It's a fucking insanely good early 3D platformer. Like, the fact that it's so charming, and it's not just the charm. Plenty of games can still have charm, but they're, like, unplayable. This is still totally playable. It helps that it's really not super hard. But you know what? That's so refreshing, because games from this time still had that mentality of let's just be really hard because reasons. This game's not very hard. I imagine if you're going for every single possible, like, bonus stage and such, it doesn't have a lot of secondary collectibles, but if you're going for those, then yeah, it would be a little more challenging to ace all of them and to even find them. But as you can see, I mean, like, yeah, okay, I'm handily losing quite a bit of health right now. That is definitely the case. I'm guessing I have to wait until this form wears out, and then he'll be vulnerable, correct? Because I don't seem to be doing any damage to him right now, right? Or maybe I'm just really bad at aiming. Oh, no, there you go. Have we taken him out? Okay, I'm assuming that we're going to get a final cutscene. And then I'll see you guys with part 4 of this playthrough, because we're moving on to Jumping Flash 2. So enjoy the final cutscene.
You've only damaged my base slightly. Prepare yourself, Robert. Now my minions are really ready for you. I, Baron Aloha, am invincible!
You ain't done yet.